Not all Caribbean islands are created equal. Some are shockingly affordable, others will burn through your budget. I've ranked 26 of the most popular islands from cheapest to most expensive based on real 4-star hotel prices in high season. And here's the surprise, some of the cheapest islands are also among the most upscale. Places like St. Kitts and Martinique still land in the cheaper half. And at the end, the high prices are shocking, but the luxury is just as extreme. So let's start with the most affordable islands and work our way up. Just down the road from Cancun's hotel zone, Playa del Carmen is almost the opposite experience. Instead of one long strip of similar beach resorts, Playa is a real town with shops, restaurants, bars, and beach clubs that run right along the sand. There are high-end resorts here too, but what makes Playa top this list are the small, affordable 4-star hotels just steps from the beach, like the Grand 50 Suites, which comes in at only $87 per night for 2 people in high season. Playa is perfect if you want a social, walkable base with easy nightlife and dining, and it's also the jumping off point for the ferry to Cozumel if you want a day of snorkeling or diving. Cozumel is just across the channel from Playa del Carmen, but it feels very different. The island is world famous for diving and snorkeling, and that's the main reason people come here. The beaches themselves aren't as wide or sandy as the Riviera Maya, but the reef more than makes up for it. Because Cozumel is smaller and a bit quieter, the hotel scene is less competitive. You'll find big all-inclusives here, but also affordable 4-star beach resorts like the Coral Princess Hotel and Dive Resort, which starts at only $104 per night in high season. Cozumel is ideal for divers, snorkelers, and anyone who prefers a slower pace compared to Cancun or Playa del Carmen. You'll find hotel links for all 26 islands in the description if you want to check prices for your own trip. Montego Bay is Jamaica's main tourist hub thanks to its airport being just a few minutes from the beach hotels. That convenience means it's one of the easiest Caribbean destinations to reach, and competition among resorts keeps prices fairly low. Most visitors stay in large all-inclusive resorts here, but you'll also find 4-star hotels starting at around $134 per night in high season. The trade-off is that Mo Bay feels more commercial than Jamaica's other beach towns. It's busy with cruise crowds and a strong focus on package tourism. It's ideal if you want an easy, affordable beach holiday with flights right into town, but if you're looking for more of a relaxed or cultural experience, Negril or Ocho Rios are better bets. Puerto Plata was one of the first big package tour destinations in the Caribbean, and you can see it in the large resorts and package deals that dominate the area. That history, plus a huge supply of hotels, keeps prices very competitive, with 4-star beachfront resorts starting at around $137 per night in high season. The beaches are good, but Puerto Plata doesn't have quite the polish or glamour of Punta Cana, so it's not as popular with high-end travelers. That makes it a value spot, especially for families and groups looking for an affordable all-inclusive. If your main goal is sun, sand, and a low price, Puerto Plata delivers. If you want a bit more luxury or nightlife, Punta Cana is the better choice. Punta Cana is the all-inclusive capital of the Caribbean. The coastline here is lined with huge resorts, many of them sharing sprawling complexes with multiple hotels, restaurants, and pools. That dominance of all-inclusives is the main reason prices stay relatively low. 4-star resorts in high season start at around $181 per night. There are some independent hotels that are decent and affordable, but most visitors will get better value and convenience inside of an all-inclusive. That's partly because the resort scene is so dominant that the local restaurant and nightlife options are limited by comparison. Punta Cana is best for travelers who want a self-contained beach holiday where everything is included. If you want to experience local Dominican culture, you'll find better options elsewhere in the country. By the way, Punta Cana is one of the stars in my video of the 11 cheapest Caribbean islands for all-inclusive resorts. I'll link that at the end if you want to dive deeper. Cancun's Hotel Zone is one of the most famous resort strips in the Caribbean, a glamorous 14-mile stretch of white sand lined with modern beachfront hotels. Even the cheaper 4-star resorts here, starting at around $197 per night in high season, usually come with prime locations right on the beach. The big all-inclusives dominate, but Cancun is also one of the few resort hubs where independent hotels make sense, especially for first-time visitors. That's because Cancun is such an easy jumping-off point. From here you can take day trips to Isla Mujeres, Playa del Carmen, Cozumel, Tulum, and even the ruins at Chichen Itza. So while the hotel zone is ideal if you want a classic beach and party resort vacation, it's also a great base if you want to explore more of Mexico's Riviera Maya. Curaçao is part of the ABC Islands along with Aruba and Bonaire just off the coast of Venezuela. It has a distinct Dutch Caribbean vibe with the colorful capital of Willemstad and a mix of European and island influences. Beach resorts here start around $219 per night in high season, more expensive than Jamaica or the Dominican Republic, but still reasonable compared to the upper tier of Caribbean islands. Curaçao doesn't have as many long sandy beaches as some destinations, but the island makes up for it with excellent diving and snorkeling, plus a lively local culture and nightlife scene. It's ideal if you want a more well-rounded trip with beaches, culture, and some exploring rather than just staying at one resort. Bonaire is the quietest of the three ABC islands, and it's world famous as a diving paradise. The coastline is protected as a marine park, and the island is ringed with easy access dive sites, so snorkelers and divers come from all over the world. What Bonaire doesn't really have are long sandy beaches. Most visitors here are for the water rather than the sand. Resorts are smaller and more specialized, which keeps prices a little higher, with 4-star resorts starting at around $232 per night in high season. It's best for divers, snorkelers, and travelers who prefer a low-key, nature-focused island rather than nightlife or big all-inclusive resorts. St. Kitts and Nevis don't get nearly as much attention as other Caribbean islands, but they're a real hidden gem. Prices for 4-star beachfront hotels start at around $237 per night in high season, which keeps them in the cheaper part of this list. What sets St. Kitts apart is the scenery. Instead of the scrubby bushland you see on many islands, much of St. Kitts has wide, open green hills and grasslands that feel surprisingly different for the Caribbean. Nevis is even quieter, with historic plantations turned into boutique hotels. This is my personal favorite island in the region because it combines beautiful beaches with open, unspoiled landscapes and an authentic, low-key feel. It's ideal for travelers who want something more original than the big resort hubs without the sky-high prices of the luxury islands. Martinique is a French overseas territory, and it feels more like the Riviera transplanted into the Caribbean. You'll find bakeries, boutiques, and a distinctly European flair alongside palm-fringed beaches. Prices for 4-star beachfront hotels start around $257 per night in high season, so it's pricier than the budget islands but still affordable compared to the luxury tier. The island is especially popular with French-speaking visitors, which can be part of the charm or a bit of a challenge if you don't know the language. Martinique is ideal if you want a Caribbean beach holiday with a strong dose of French culture and cuisine, but it's less of a fit if you're after all-inclusive resorts or English-speaking nightlife. San Juan is one of the easiest Caribbean destinations to visit, especially for Americans. No passport needed, US dollars, and plenty of flight options. But more importantly, it's the cultural and historic heavyweight of the Caribbean. For me, this is the top pick on the entire list if you're after culture and history, and since San Juan is a proper city of nearly 350,000 people, nothing else really comes close. Old San Juan's pastel colonial streets and massive Spanish forts feel straight out of Europe, while the Condado and Isla Verde districts give you the classic beach resorts just minutes away. The best part is you don't have to choose between city and beach life here. The beaches right in San Juan are surprisingly beautiful with soft sand and warm turquoise water. The nightlife is lively too, with salsa clubs, craft cocktail bars, and casinos. Hotels aren't the cheapest in the region, but they still offer good value, with 4-star beachfront resorts starting at around $257 per night in high season. If you want a Caribbean trip that balances rich culture with great beaches, San Juan is the complete package. Nassau is one of the easiest Caribbean destinations to reach, especially from the US East Coast, making it a solid choice for a quick, long weekend getaway. The main island has a range of good hotels in different areas, and you'll find beautiful beaches within easy reach of town. The pastel-colored colonial buildings downtown give Nassau some charm, and there's a lively mix of shops, restaurants, and nightlife. That said, the famous Paradise Island, home to the sprawling Atlantis Resort, is a bit of a mixed bag. While some travelers love the mega-resort atmosphere, I find it feels more like a generic tourist trap than an authentic Caribbean destination. Prices there are high, and it doesn't have much of a cultural flavor that makes other islands memorable. Hotels overall aren't cheap, with 4-star beachfront options starting at around $281 per night in high season, but you can find better value outside the Paradise Island bubble. Grenada is often overlooked, which is surprising because it's one of the Caribbean's most beautiful islands. Known as the Spice Isle for its nutmeg and cocoa plantations, Grenada feels less developed and more authentic than many of its neighbors. Grand Anse Beach is the standout, a long, crescent-shaped stretch of sand that's among the prettiest in the region, and you'll also find lush green hills, waterfalls, and small fishing villages that give the island a relaxed, unpolished charm. When I visited on a cruise stop, I found Grenada to feel a bit rustic and even disorganized at times, which is part of what makes it so different from the polished resort islands. It's not the easiest place to get around, but for travelers who like a slower pace and more natural beauty, Grenada is a gem. Hotels here are fewer in number than elsewhere in the Caribbean, but good value. 4-star beachfront resorts start around $308 per night in high season. St. Maarten is a unique island split in two. The northern half is French, the southern half Dutch, and that's really the main draw. On the French side, you'll find excellent food, quieter beaches, and a bit of that laid-back European vibe. On the Dutch side, you'll get more nightlife, shopping, and infrastructure, along with plenty of resorts and a lively casino scene. Together, it makes for a fascinating blend of cultures in a compact package. The beaches are excellent on both sides, from the calmer coves in the north to the more developed stretches in the south. And of course, plane spotting at Maho Beach, where jumbo jets practically skim the sand, is one of the most famous experiences in the Caribbean. Hotels aren't cheap, but still fair value for such a unique destination, with 4-star beachfront resorts starting at around $313 per night in high season. Antigua has one of the best marketing lines in the Caribbean. They say the island has 365 beaches, one for every day of the year. And while that might be a stretch, it gives you an idea of just how beach-focused this island is. Many of them are postcard perfect, soft white sand and turquoise water, often with hardly anyone around. The island has a relaxed, upscale vibe, with plenty of all-inclusive resorts but also smaller boutique hotels if you want something more intimate. St. John's, the capital, is worth a quick wander, but most visitors spend their days hopping between beaches and enjoying the easy pace of life. Hotels here aren't cheap, but they deliver quality. 4-star beachfront resorts start around $342 per night in high season. Barbados combines beautiful beaches with a lively local culture. The south and west coasts are lined with resorts, beach bars, and plenty of nightlife, while the island's interior feels more authentic and distinctly Caribbean. It's also one of the easier islands for meeting other travelers, thanks to the cluster of small hotels near the main shopping and dining areas. Hotels here lean a bit upscale, with 4-star beachfront resorts starting at around $347 per night in high season. If you want a mix of social energy, great food, and excellent beaches, Barbados delivers. Shaped like a butterfly, Guadeloupe is actually 2 islands joined by a short bridge. The eastern side has the bigger resorts and long beaches, while the western side is mountainous and lush with waterfalls and hiking trails. It's especially popular with French visitors, so you'll notice a European feel in the food and atmosphere. Hotels are fairly priced for the region, with 4-star beachfront resorts starting at around $353 per night in high season. Guadeloupe is a great choice if you want a mix of nature and beaches with a slightly more French Caribbean vibe. Anguilla is one of the most upscale islands in the Caribbean, known for its quiet, unspoiled beaches and a reputation as a hideaway for the rich and famous. There's very little mass tourism here. Instead, you'll find luxury resorts, gourmet restaurants, and a laid-back, exclusive vibe. That exclusivity comes at a price. 4-star beachfront resorts start at around $365 per night in high season. If you're looking for seclusion and style rather than nightlife or big crowds, Anguilla is a top choice. St. Lucia is often called the most photogenic island in the Caribbean, and it's easy to see why. The twin pitons raising straight out of the sea are iconic, but the whole island is lush, mountainous, and dramatic compared to its flatter neighbors. It's a favorite for honeymooners and couples, with plenty of romantic resorts and boutique hotels. It's not the cheapest island, with 4-star beachfront resorts starting at around $371 per night in high season, but the scenery alone makes it worth it. The British Virgin Islands are best known as a sailing and yacht destination, with dozens of small coves and private islets to explore. Tortola, the main island, has some nice beaches, but the capital road town feels a bit rough and lacks the charm of other Caribbean towns. Resorts here are on the pricey side, with 4-star beachfront hotels starting at around $396 per night in high season. The BVI are best suited for yacht charters or those staying in upscale hideaways. If you're just sticking to Tortola, it can feel underwhelming compared to other islands. Bermuda isn't technically in the Caribbean, but it often gets grouped in thanks to its pink sand beaches and subtropical vibe. The island blends British charm with stunning scenery from pastel-colored villages to turquoise coves. It's also just a 2-hour flight from much of the US East Coast, which makes it surprisingly convenient for a quick getaway. All of that comes at a price. It's one of the most expensive islands in the region, with 4-star beachfront resorts starting at around $400 per night in high season. Still, for those who can afford it, Bermuda offers a unique mix of British culture and island beauty that's hard to beat. The Cayman Islands, led by Grand Cayman, are known for their upscale resorts, great diving, and the famous 7 Mile Beach, one of the most beautiful stretches of sand in the Caribbean. It's a polished, safe, and easy destination, though not the most culturally distinctive compared to some of its neighbors. Prices reflect the upscale vibe, with 4-star beachfront resorts starting at around $401 per night in high season. If you're after pristine beaches, luxury resorts, and world-class diving, the Caymans deliver. Turks and Caicos isn't technically in the Caribbean either, but with beaches this perfect, most travelers won't mind. Grace Bay on Providenciales is regularly ranked among the best beaches in the world, wide, soft, and impossibly turquoise. The whole vibe is upscale and relaxed, with luxury resorts and fine dining taking center stage. That beauty comes at a steep price, with 4-star beachfront resorts starting at around $458 per night in high season. Turks and Caicos is all about world-class beaches and pampering, not budget travel. Aruba sits outside the hurricane belt, so it's one of the most reliable islands for year-round sunshine. The beaches are excellent, especially Eagle Beach and Palm Beach, and the island is easy to get around with plenty of modern conveniences. It's not really a luxury-only destination, but there just aren't many budget options. Hotels are generally pricey across the board. In high season, 4-star beachfront hotels start at around $466 per night. Aruba is a safe, easy, and beautiful choice, just not a cheap one. The U.S. Virgin Islands are among the most expensive in the region, with 4-star beachfront hotels starting at around $471 per night in high season. What's surprising is that St. Thomas doesn't feel especially luxurious. The main town is dominated by jewelry shops and cruise traffic more than Caribbean charm. The high prices trace back to hurricanes in 2017, which wiped out many of the mid-range hotels that never reopened. That left mostly upscale resorts, so while the convenience of being in a U.S. territory is appealing, you'll find better value and atmosphere elsewhere in the Caribbean. You probably saw it coming, but by far the most expensive Caribbean island is St. Barts. If there's one island on this list that defines pure Caribbean glamour, it's St. Barts. This tiny French island is the playground of celebrities, supermodels, and billionaires, where the harbor is lined with mega yachts and the beach clubs could double as fashion shoots. There are no big hotels here, just a handful of boutique properties and a whole lot of private villas. And the price? Brace yourself. 4-star accommodations in high season start at around $1,489 per night. That makes St. Barts not just the most expensive island in the Caribbean, but one of the priciest beach destinations in the entire world. For most of us, it's fantasy territory, but for the rich and famous, it's the only place to be seen. So there you have it, 26 Caribbean islands ranked by hotel price, from the affordable gems to the ultra-luxury escapes. And if you're curious about all-inclusive resorts, I've got another video ranking the 11 cheapest Caribbean islands for all-inclusive resorts. You can watch that one here next. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more travel videos.